Hi everybody, this is Trey, Stewart, the Republican leader in the Maine State Senate. Hope your weekend's going well. You know, for years now, and this is my 5th term in the legislature, you've heard us give a response on the radio that has historically been called the weekly Republican radio address, usually in response to something that the governor has put out. I've often questioned, really whether it matters, whether anybody cares, or whether it's actually moving the needle at all. And so I think what I'd like to do going forward with this time is, instead of just nitpicking or pointing out obvious flaws in what the current administration is doing, or something bad that happened in state government this week, of which, by the way, there are many examples we could easily point to. Instead, what I want to do is use this time to paint a picture for folks that are listening and watching about what state government can and should look like under different leadership, specifically under Republican control of state government. So I think that's what we're going to do going forward. We're going to use this opportunity to put forward what the Republican vision is for the state of Maine, and I hope that you'll join us along this journey. The first thing I want to talk about with you all is the business climate and what's happened here in the state of Maine with regard to our economy. Now, the good news is there were some positive things that occurred in the last year, and they were done specifically with Republican support, Republican leadership on those issues. Namely, 2 important bills that were passed that my Republican colleagues and I worked very hard on to change some of the tax structure here in Maine. These were tax credit bills. What that means is that if companies in the state of Maine do the things that we need them and want them to do with regard to employing people, hiring Maine people, creating opportunities, particularly in rural areas, they receive a credit on their taxes over a number of years, specifically 20 years. This was a big deal in northern Maine for 2 major potato processing facilities that employ and will continue to create jobs for hundreds of Maine people in Aroostook County. That got across the finish line with a lot of broad bipartisan support. And then a reauthorization program of an existing tax credit called the New Markets Tax Credit. You may have even heard of this program a little bit as it relates to the federal government and some of the programs that they have to spur on economic growth. We need this program to compete in Maine, to draw businesses in, to encourage businesses to expand over the next 20 years. The back of the napkin math says that it's going to be about $1 billion worth of investment in the state of Maine over the next 20 years, and we look forward to seeing that. Now, the thing is, we could have done a lot more. Republicans know that, I know that, and we have pushed hard over my tenure here, certainly, to lower our tax rate overall so that everybody can experience lower taxes. This is something, states compete. There's 50 different laboratories of democracy around the country. The ones that do the best and are the strongest economically are the ones that have a lower burden on their people in terms of their tax liability. We could be the next one that starts to lower our taxes, that moves in the right direction, and I'm positive that when that happens, we're going to see more and more economic activity as people know how to spend their money better than the government does. Another thing that's really important when states are competing is, what's the regulatory environment look like in that state? Here in Maine, we love to burden our businesses with all kinds of regulations, and as a result, it's hard to come to Maine and set up shop or expand or create new jobs and opportunities. And so we need to get a handle on this. Governor LePage did a great job of that when he was governor, and we need to get back to that sort of model of business as it relates to state government. Finally, energy costs are through the roof in Maine. Everybody knows this. You probably saw the recent reports indicating that we have the highest year-over-year increases in energy costs in the country, and it's frankly our own doing. We've elected politicians who are more focused on handing out benefits to their lobby friends than they are to bringing down the cost of energy here in the state of Maine and looking at what's in the best interest of the ratepayers. So if you and your family and your business care about these things, if you want to see Maine have a better tax environment, a better regulatory system to operate under and grow and expand and create more jobs and opportunity here, if you want to see more people get off of welfare and back to work, and if you want to see lower energy costs, these are all things that Republicans, specifically legislative Republicans, are laser focused on. I look forward to talking about these subjects and many others as we move along in our Republican Vision series that we're going to be putting forward here, both on the radio and on the internet, and look forward to talking with you and your family and the people that you care about to make sure that we are focused on the things that matter most to Maine people. That's our commitment to you. Thanks for listening, and I hope you have a great rest of your weekend.